What's up, everybody? Well, I got another gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna finish up Dead Space Remake on my main computer here. But first, why don't we quickly go through the specs. So we got a 13900KF, we got a RTX 4090 gaming trio, we got a Z790 Gaming E ASUS motherboard, we've got a 32 gigs of 6400 MHz DDR5, 32 CAS latency, kind of just placeholder RAM until the really good DDR5 comes out. I didn't want to have to get a DDR4 board and then rip everything apart just to upgrade to DDR5 later. Didn't seem worth it. And then we got ourselves a custom loop with an EK Velocity 2 block, and we got ourselves a 420mm radiator there cooling everything. And this whole thing is powered by a 1600 watt EVGA power supply, which I know is a little overpowered, but I was very much expecting everything to take up a lot more power than it ended up taking up. But anyhow, that's all for that. So why don't we now hop on into the game, look at some specs, look at some settings, geez, can't freaking talk today, and then get some gameplay. And then at the end, we'll get some camera too. So let's hop into the game, shall we? Well, here we go on the main computer now. We're at 4K. All of that good stuff. So let's go look at all of the settings we're going to be running. We're going to start on Ultra and just go through all the settings, then do DLSS, and then move on to some camera gameplay at the very end. But now that I've done explaining that, we're at the bottom, so game time. All right, starting off our gameplay here. Maxed out, well, not maxed completely out, but preset of Ultra. There's one thing we can do. We can turn ray tracing on, and I'll probably do that with my settings. I think I forgot to do that on the secondary computer, if I'm honest, but I'm sure it would have been able to do it and still gotten 60 the whole time on quality. But definitely wouldn't have stayed above 60 without DLSS, I don't think, and ray tracing on. Ray tracing is always kind of a FPS hog. And half the time and half the games you try out, it doesn't really make a huge difference. So most people go, well, why the hell would I take a 20 FPS hit if I can't even tell the fucking difference? And I can't argue with that. But there are certain games like Cyberpunk, and what's another good example? Guardians of the Galaxy is another one where they had some pretty good ray tracing when you're out exploring on the worlds and whatnot. It's pretty much any game that just doesn't do just one thing. It's the ones that do all the different ray tracing, like ray traced shadows, ray traced reflections, ray traced freaking lighting. You know, you get all that ray tracing together, and it actually looks pretty decent. Though it usually hits the FPS even harder when they do all of that, which makes it even harder to run. But sure does look nice. But in certain games where there's like, all right, ray traced shadows, it's like even the laptop can sometimes get away with doing that at 1080p and staying above 60. But the second you start adding other shit, it always falls flat on its face. And turns more into like a 30, 40 FPS machine. Which is probably why the consoles do the same, because next-gen consoles like the PS5 and Series X are very similar in performance GPU-wise to my laptop. Now each of them have their differences where they have some higher clock speeds on one, or a little bit better gigabit per second on the memory speed and what have you. But then we have my laptop CPU, which still just absolutely dunks on the next-gen consoles. Zen 2 CPUs. Not like they're horrible. They're far, far better than that crap Jaguar CPU we had in the last gen consoles. Those were horrible. Those really held back those consoles really bad. They could have been so much better if they just had a little bit better CPU, honestly. Anyway, though, let's move on now. Well, now let's drop the settings down to high now, and we'll just see how it runs. Should still be pretty damn good. I mean, we did really good even on maxed out. I mean, it's 49 and 13900K. Okay, KF to be exact, so what do we expect, right? Let's get some high gameplay in now. So, let's just walk around like we've done on all the rest of the systems real fast here. And yeah, this thing is full of FPS. Considering we're doing this at 4K. This is like my first true 4K card. Every other card that said it's 4K worked on a couple games for like a month or two, and then like another game came out and it's like, all right, no, you want native 4K with 60 FPS and ray tracing? It ain't gonna happen, chief. You're gonna have to have some DLSS, and then you're gonna have to sometimes even turn it down to balanced, like I used to have to do in, what was it? Not Left 4 Dead. What in the hell is that game I'm thinking of? It's a zombie game. God damn it. I have too many games. I can't remember. Ah! Dying Light, that's the one I was thinking of. Dying Light. Dying Light's another one where the ray tracing is really nice too. I like to have that on there. But in that one, with my 3090 and 5800X 3D, I had to, or not 3D, the 5800X. No, it was a 5950X. That's what it was, yeah. In my main computer before, 5950X and a 3090. And I had toned things down in that game to get a constant 60 with ray tracing on. Because a lot of people don't know this, but ray tracing hits your CPU hard too, so. And it's not like the 5000 series AMDs are terrible, but they did get surpassed by 12th gen and 13th gen, obviously. But it sounds like 7000 series have a 3D chip coming out again, and this time it's going to be on 3 different processors, not just the 8-core, so I'm excited to see what that's like. I might have to build a new secondary AMD computer, or might have to make a new primary computer if it's as good as they say. But I also want to see what Intel's going to do. Because hell, I might just be fine sticking with what I got, but this thing does bottleneck my 4090 and a couple titles, so it'd be nice to keep upgrading until that doesn't happen. Much. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, now we're going to drop the settings down to good old medium here. So let's just look at these settings real quick. Hey, and look at that. Already time to get back into the game. So let's do just that. All right. Let's get a little medium gameplay in here.
Crap, we came down hard.
I'm very excited to actually get to play in this game. As I said in one of my other videos, I never got to actually beat the original Dead Space because it had an error on my computer where I couldn't get past, like, one of the first freaking levels here. I don't think I ever got past chapter 1. I think I had to, like, open some half-jammed something or other, like a doorway or something, and it just wouldn't work. You kept hitting the button for use or whatever, and it just didn't do anything. It was just a glitch. And then they took too long to fix the glitch, so I moved on to other games and then just never came back and tried it again. So I'm actually very happy that they came out with an updated version of this. I never actually got to beat it, so now I can play it on my main computer here and just frickin' just enjoy all these nice, good looks. Obviously, it doesn't look quite as good as it used to because we're on medium, but it still looks pretty damn good. But I'm gonna play this thing maxed out with ray tracing and everything. Should be able to handle it no problem. And I still need to, like, actually mess around with my processor and RAM. But so far, I'm just enjoying the if it's working, don't mess with it mantra. Because half the time I mess with shit, and then it's all like, oh, dude, it's worse than it is stock. Or either that or it's nowhere near what everyone else online gets. I'm like, oh, well, that's no fun. I guess I got a bad chip, which is usually what happens, but not this time. Without even, like, trying or doing anything, my 13900K is getting quite a bit more FPS and a lot more in the benchmarks than a lot of people's stock 13900Ks. Hell, some of them are overclocked, and I'm still doing better than. So I don't know what the fuck this motherboard's doing in the background, but I like it. But I still should mess around with the RAM, even if I'm not going to overclock the processor anymore. Because we could definitely get a little bit more performance. Because I'm sure this RAM can probably be overclocked up to, like, close to 700 megahertz. Or 7,000 megahertz, and then, even if not, probably 6,800, and then I can still get maybe a little bit lower, like 29 CAS latency or something. And tighten up the other sub-timings as well. Well, now, it's time for us to do some low gameplay here. So let's just quickly look over all of the settings here real fast. And there we go, already to the bottom. So now to the game. Now let's do a little low gameplay here before we get into the DLSS settings here. So we'll just go run up to that freaking room that we were in before. It's always the stopping point. And of course I'll go and do some battling and get some more gameplay footage once we get a little farther in the game too. Because who knows, there could be a way harder to run place than this.
Be proud, Chen. You gotta see her in one piece.
Johnson might disagree. But you're off in about the first round.
I wouldn't mind something to steady my nerves, especially on CEC stuff.
You see anyone in flight control?
No, nobody.
At least we didn't take out the sign.
With 62 years of continuous service. It holds the record for the highest number of planet crafts, with 34 to date, and highest dead weight of refined
done, Isaac.
We got to get this done.
May as well get signed in.
Well, the only thing getting done is probably all of us. Well, except for me, because I'm going to beat the game. Though, actually, I don't know. Could be one of those games where the main character dies at the end. I don't know. I don't know that he's the main character in 3 and 2. I know he looks similar, but not necessarily know it's the same guy. Probably is, but I don't know that for a fact because I never beat this game yet. I am excited to beat it, and hopefully they'll come out with a remake of those two as well.
Location. Error. Employee not found.
I can't reach security.
Same for the chief engineer. What is wrong with their comms?
Ah, we can go in now. It is unlocked. Alright, now we got some light, so let's just walk around here real quick. And then we will move on to DLSS.
Someone left in a hurry.
Now we are going to do DLSS. So we're going to start off with DLSS on quality. And now I'm just going to do custom this time, and we're going to max the game completely out. So we're going to turn on ray traced ambient occlusion. And now that we've reached the bottom, now we can get back into the game and see how it runs. Well, now we're going to do DLSS, so we're starting off with DLSS on quality here. And we now have ray traced ambient occlusion on as well. But shouldn't have no problem handling it. This is a 4090 and a 13900KF to after all. So, should be absolutely fine. It's a very beastly combination, though a very expensive combination. Well, I mean, if you're going to use a 4K TV as a monitor, I mean, you might as well splurge on the rest of the stuff so it can actually run that monitor, right?
Especially on CEC stuff.
See anyone in flight control?
I'm kind of excited to upgrade my other two monitors. There's this one ultra-wide monitor I kind of want to upgrade that Corsair made that kind of can bend and become flat, and it's OLED, so that should be fun. And I was excited to get this the OLED monitor on 1440p monitor too, just my normal one that I have hooked up to the laptop normally, but turns out it costs, I don't care that it costs $1,000, but I guess it's so dim that you can't really see things very well when you're playing like a competitive game. And that's kind of what that monitor was originally for. That was my competitive gaming monitor before I got my 300 hertz screen on this thing. But I still like my 1440p 165 more. But since it's so dim, I'm thinking, well, I'll just stick with the one I've got for now then, unless they've got like something where I can go up to like a 360. Well, hell, this freaking laptop already has trouble doing 165 hertz 1440p, so I really don't think I need to upgrade it, really. Other than just a kind of whim to be like, oh man, this thing's a little old, let's get a new one. But nah, I don't think it really is necessary.
Location. Error. Employee not found.
I can't reach security.
Same for the chief engineer. What is wrong with their comms?
Alright, unlocked. Alright. Well, why don't we go ahead and move on now. Now, DLSS balanced. So let's look through these settings real quick. Still on Ultra with the ray traced ambient occlusion. And there we are. We've reached the bottom. So now, let's go see how balanced does. Now for some balanced DLSS now. So let's just walk around again. Down our little benchmark routine that we've come up with for ourselves here.
Pulse rifles?
Standard procedure, Miss Daniels. We'll register them in the flight lounge.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy though. This game's even using like 30% of my 13900K. I think all the P cores are being used, and even some E cores are being used here and there.
You're often about the first round tonight.
I wouldn't mind something to steady my nerves.
Well,
Especially
that's
on
what they're
CEC
supposed to
stuff.
do.
See anyone in flight control?
Here's a question I just didn't realize. Are my P cores, do they have hyper-threading, or are they just They're just 8 cores, and that's it. There is nothing else. I know the E cores have hyper-threading. No, they've got to have hyper-threading, or we wouldn't have 32 total. I think this thing has 32 threads total, so yeah, that math just doesn't add up, I don't think. It's got it. All the cores have to have hyper-threading, I'm pretty sure. For that to make sense. Unless I'm being absolutely dumb in my head. Math was not my strong suit. My strong suits were history and science. But to get into the advanced kind of science class, like biology and chemistry and all that, you have to be good at math. So, never really tried those out very much. Or not did very good. I would try them out, obviously. Because you got to do them in high school, but didn't do very high in them. But passed by the skin of my teeth.
Chief Engineer Jacob Temple. Location. Error.
But I did ace my history final. Didn't get a single question wrong.
I can't reach security.
Same for
So
the
that was
chief
at least
engineer.
nice. Not like it does you that much good in the real world once you get out of high school. It's not like you can be like, well, I know all the presidents. Oh, well, you do? Here you go. Here's $1 million, sir. Good for you. You know? I know that's being a little going a little overboard with it, but still, you don't really get much out of it unless you're going to actually use it as your profession and be like a history teacher or something. Though it still is good to know where your country came from and all that stuff, so I'm glad I know a lot about it. Anyway, though, let's move on. Now it is time for DLSS performance. So, of course, we gotta look at these settings real quick before we get into the game. Still set up exactly the way it was for all the other DLSS settings. I would not want to invalidate all my tests now. That would be absolutely stupid. So, why don't we now go hop back into the game? Well, now let's get some DLSS performance going here.
Forget something?
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is basically 1080p upscaled to 4K.
Crap, they came down hard.
Not a great start to our repair mission.
Ghost rifles?
Standard procedure.
Still doesn't look much worse than it did. I can tell a teensy bit now. But not bad.
Where is everybody? Half the shit must have heard that landing.
At least it's not doing what it does in some games. In some games it makes shit like shimmer like there's no tomorrow. And that always bothers me. Though I see FSR doing it a little more than DLSS. DLSS used to have the problems with like ghosting and whatnot. I noticed that for the first time in Cyberpunk. I would notice that like my car's taillights and bumper and shit were like ghosting along down the road if I turned DLSS on. I'm pretty sure they fixed that by now, but it still might not be a perfect technology, but they're working on
At least
it.
we didn't take out the sign.
They're gonna try. They've got that weird frame generation stuff going on now. I still don't know how I feel about it, because it adds in all that latency and it's basically fake frames. But if it actually makes you feel like the game is smoother and whatnot, and it's not a game that's like a first-person shooter where you need that mouse to be absolutely flawless,
May as well get signed in.
then I don't know, it's not so bad. But I just don't like the principle of it, where it's like, okay, the game runs with DLSS and frame generation on a 4090. All right, cool, the game's ready to go. Send it out. I don't like that. That's dumb. Games should be able to run on more than just like my primary and secondary computer. The laptop should be able to play it with decent settings as well. Steam Deck, of course, that one's a little lower. That's basically a portable PS4, so of course some things have to give with that one. I understand that completely. So I'm just happy with that one. I got a locked 30. Well, so far. We'll have to get a little farther in the game, and like I said, and retest it and see if we can stay above 30. In more intensive places, if there are any, which I'm pretty sure there are, but I don't want to make that claim because I don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Screw you, suitcase. Get owned. All right, now, let's go move on to the last DLSS setting. All right. Last up for the DLSS, we got DLSS Ultra Performance now. So let's just go through these settings real quick. We got the Ray Traced Ambient Occlusion on as well. And now, let's go see how it does in the game. Well, here we go. Before we get to camera gameplay, let's get some DLSS Ultra Quality in. Or, I mean, Ultra Performance, not Ultra Quality. That does not exist.
Crap, they came down hard.
At least not anymore. I think that was a DLSS 1.0 feature. And I think they got rid of it as soon as it went to DLSS 2.0. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember happening.
Where is everybody? Half the shit must have heard that landing.
Yeah, and this definitely does not look very good. I'm pretty sure this is 720p upscaled to 4K.
What? You're off and about
So this
the
is like
first
Steam Deck resolution, basically, upscaled to 4K.
Especially on CS.
Not as bad as it could look, though. I mean, could be way worse. I'm sure there's a bunch of people that be like, oh, no, I can play this, no problem. Give me that 180 FPS, you know?
Isaac, guess we better go. At least least we didn't take out the sun.
It holds the record for the highest number of planet crashes, with 34 today, and highest dead weight of refined product at 14 trillion kilotons
May as well get started.
Whether you be joining us aboard the issue or helping the inspection workforce on the colony, Captain Matthias and his crew welcome you.
And now we must get scanned on in.
Welcome, Isaac Clarke, to the USG Ishimura. Rig synced. Collect kinesis and stasis modules from Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple. Location,
Light Lounge.
employee not found.
I don't think we're going to be enjoying our stay
I
very
can't
much.
reach security.
Say for the
Something
chief
tells
engineer,
me.
What is wrong with their comms?
Alright, let's go in here now.
Someone left.
Alright, let's go move the camera now. Alright guys, let's quickly look over the settings. We're gonna run for my settings here. We're gonna go with DLSS quality, custom, and we basically have the game completely maxed out. Ah, so it's ray traced. I thought that's what the R stood for. So, now, with that out of the way, why don't we go ahead and hop into the game and see how this computer handles it. Alright. Let's get some camera gameplay in here. This game does look really good.
At least we didn't take out the sun.
Alright, let's get into this motherfucker.
Rig synced. Collect kinesis and stasis modules from Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple. Location, error. Employee not found.
I can't reach security.
Say for the chief engineer. What is wrong?
I don't think we'll ever be reaching security, to be honest. And the room has the power.
Someone left in a hurry.
Where's the security console? Where's anybody?
There's nothing logged. No duty roster. No power to the elevator.
For God's sake. That security console's still working. Isaac, get a damage report. Done playing around.
A little stutter there. This whole ship's fucked.
Shit. It's not just comms with the guidance system. We got the Ishimura's in the red. Engines, hull, tramps.
Could be looking at
I think it's about time that we find out.
Anomaly detected. Quarantine activated.
Another malfunction?
No. The quarantine systems are all fine.
Wait, do you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it.
Happened?
Take it easy. Rangers get those elevators.
There's something important.
We got to get the fuck out of here. Alright, go, go, go. I'm trying to run. It's not always the easiest thing to do. Well, it's a good thing he got cut in half. I don't have no weapons or nothing. He would have killed the shit out of me. But I think that's probably a good spot to stop, so why don't we go ahead and wrap this video on up now. Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Dead Space Remake on the main computer here, which means that's a wrap for the game altogether. And the two desktops handled it pretty damn well, but Steam Deck had to do 30 FPS, which it still did pretty smooth, I must say, but the laptop was kind of all over the place. But we still got pretty acceptable frame rates. It just had random parts where it would just stop and drop to like 1 FPS here and there. Only when it was on it by itself though, with no monitors, no capture card. So I don't know what was up with that. That was just weird. Maybe it was just a setting I had on it didn't like. Or it could just be a fluke and it just doesn't ever happen again. But I just wanted to take note of it because that did happen. But at least on the desktops and on here, we were pretty much butter smooth the whole time. To be perfectly honest, I don't even know if I really needed DLSS. I just did it for the extra frames. We probably could have gotten away with no DLSS and still gotten like 60 FPS everywhere. But anyway though, that's all I got for you guys for this video, and I'm excited. Tomorrow, it's Hogwarts, so look forward to that, and until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you, and until the next video, peace out, guys.